Hello, everybody. This is Gary. Today is Saturday, July 25th, 2020. It's 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Rochester, New York, in the United States. And this is just an update on my coping with schizophrenia. Um, as I mentioned in my last video earlier this week, I spent 3 days in the psychiatric observation unit of Strong Memorial Hospital, University of Rochester in New York. I was kept for 72 hours for psychiatric observation to make sure that I wasn't violent or suicidal. And they let me go after the third day. What I'm chewing is nicotine gum. I have reduced my smoking from a pack and a half a day to 4 or 5 cigarettes a day. So I'm still addicted to nicotine. I'm using the nicotine gum, the nicotine patch, and still smoking. But I've greatly reduced the amount of smoking that I do. Um, I suppose sometime in the future I will quit completely. But for now, I'm focusing just on reducing my smoking instead of just eliminating my nicotine addiction. Um, but I think I did well over the past 3 or 4 days. Yesterday, I think I had 3 cigarettes. Today, I've had maybe 2 cigarettes so far, and it's 4:22 p.m. Um, I used to chain smoke one cigarette right after another, and I am relying on my nicotine addiction by using nicotine gum and the patch. I have an 8-week supply of the nicotine patches and the nicotine gum. Um, I'm seeing my primary healthcare provider on, I believe, August 5th, and we're going to discuss getting another prescription for nicotine gum and nicotine patches, and my insurance will pay for it. Um, as far as my schizophrenia goes, I'm somewhat paranoid, thinking people are following me, thinking there's a conspiracy against me, which I have no evidence for, but the feeling is strong and it's disturbing. I know intellectually it isn't true, and I have control over my behavior, which was the point of my psychiatric observation. They were trying to judge how much self control I had, and I have actually quite a bit. Even when I'm paranoid, even when I hear voices telling me people are following me, I usually have good control over my behavior. That's why I wasn't fully admitted into the psychiatric hospital earlier this week, because I didn't need it. The only thing I had to show while I was there was that I was in control of myself and my own behavior. Suicide was not an option. Violence was not an option. And they're not an option. Um, but I am hearing voices right now. Um, I don't see things that aren't there. That's never been an issue with me. But like I told the psychiatrist at the hospital, my paranoia is always there to some degree. The voices are always there to some degree. Um, the issue is not trying to get rid of them, but reducing their intensity, and that's the point of my medications. As far as my paranoia is concerned specifically, I do take Seroquel, and just as important, I have Haldol as a PRN for psychotic symptoms. I have a PRN, which means as needed, um, for Klonopin for intense anxiety. They give me 6 pills of Klonopin, half a milligram each, every 2 weeks to make sure that I don't become physically and mentally addicted to it and dependent on it. The Klonopin and the Haldol are only to be used in emergency situations to prevent what happened earlier this week was going to the hospital. Um, the reason I went to the hospital in the first place was I hadn't slept in 5 or 6 days. I mean, not at all, not even for an hour. So I was up for 5 or 6 days without sleep. My hallucinations were really bad. My paranoia was really bad. And so I called the ambulance. And in New York State, when an ambulance comes for a psychiatric call, they always send the police. The police basically frisk you, make sure you're not carrying any weapons or sharp objects or anything that could hurt people, including the ambulance paramedics. And you get in the back of the ambulance after they do that, and they go to the hospital that you say you want to go to. So in my case, was Strong Memorial Hospital at the University of Rochester in New York State, in the United States. I'm doing pretty well today. It's a nice day out. I'll probably go out to ride my bike today. Um, I've already been out to do my wash. Today's a pretty warm day. It's like 80 or 90 degrees out. And when you're on psychiatric medications, you have to be careful about intense heat and sunlight because some psychiatric medications prevent a person from sweating or they make it easy to get a sunburn. And it's much more likely if you spend too much time in the heat and the sun without proper hydration, it's very easy to fall into heat exhaustion or even heat stroke. Um, I've had heat exhaustion a couple of different times and had to go to the hospital to be rehydrated with an IV and fluids. So the psychiatric medications I'm on, I have to be careful not to get a sunburn. That's where sunblock and suntan lotion come in. Um, and always carrying something to drink to stay hydrated. That could be water, but it could also be Pedialyte, which has certain chemicals that are needed in intense hot weather. I think they're called electrolytes. When you sweat, you lose a lot of electrolytes, and Pedialyte replaces those electrolytes. I mean, it's marketed as a drink for children, but it actually works in adults too to prevent dehydration and electrolyte depletion. Um, so I'm doing okay overall. Um, just doing the best I can to stick to a schedule, get out of the house as much as possible. If I spend too much time alone without talking to other people, I become more anxious and more paranoid, and my mind feeds on itself. So it's important to get out and do things. But that's pretty much what's going on. I'm doing well, better than earlier this week. Um, so share, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to really help my channel, give it a thumbs up. Press the notification bell so you know when I get new videos out. If you want me to cover a specific topic, let me know in the comment section. Um, and if you really want to help my channel, give it a thumbs up and share it on social media.